State Planning of the Imo State Government this morning. I regret your maiden interview of this nature is going to be on a matter that ordinarily shouldn't come before the press any longer. Before I go into the meat of the matter, I would like to remind you that this press conference is necessitated by the need for us to react to the press conference, several publications in the blogosphere, several commentaries led by Dr. Sama Made and one Dr. Jim Woke on behalf of the claim, the traditional or natural owners of the land in Mbishi area of Imo State, of Ngopala in Imo State, acquired by Imo State government, and presently part of which is allocated to Zion Ministries Incorporated. Why I say that they are the cause of our reaction is because they already have a case in court. They filed an action in court at the Imo State High Court, Owerri, which matter actually came up again this morning. Despite submitting themselves to the authority of the judiciary, they have taken on a reign of self-help, resorting to trial by the media, resorting to a campaign of calumny against officers of the state government, making false allegations only aimed at whipping up public sentiments they assume in their favor, but most unchristianly against them in all true sense of the word. So this ministry is just reacting to this because if we do not, the public may go away with the impression that the falsehood they are narrating is the truth. We have every respect for the authority of the court, and we have subjected ourselves to the authority of the court and had anxiously awaited the commencement of the hearing of this matter. Even this morning, their lead counsel was absent from court. We have filed a preliminary objection to that action. It couldn't go on this morning because they were unserious with their matter. Even the court had to warn them for the media trial they are occasioning, but to put paid to that rascality, we have decided to invite you to say clearly the story of this land and the stage where we are. That's why we call this press conference. So I will begin by reminding you that government is a continuum. The first falsehood I wish to answer is, what is the size of land acquired by Imo State government at Mbishi, Ngopala? Incidentally, by geographical accident, I'm a native of Mbishi. So I think I should be the last person to be seen to work against the interest of my kinsmen if things were not right. But in this case, everything is all right. Now, Mbishi is made up of the following autonomous communities. Eziama, where I hail from. Eziama is made up of 23 villages. And as of today, we have 4 autonomous communities. In Eziama, ancient kingdom of the 4 autonomous communities, I am the traditional prime minister. I am next in traditional ranking to the traditional ruler of my community. Sitting by my side is the chairman of Owerri Zonal Council of Traditional Rulers, chairman of Ngopala Council of Traditional Rulers, retired top-class engineer of the oil field, Eze Engineer Fred Nwachukwu, is here. As I go on with this, you will hear the role he had played because we had taken this matter even before the traditional authority. Now, outside Eziama, the other communities whose natives own land in this area include the then Amaala Ntu Autonomous Community, which later became Amaala separate into separate autonomous communities. From Amaala Autonomous Community, Ikem Autonomous Community was created, Alatia was created, then Oboro and Obogwe, another autonomous community, but they don't own land here. So this land belongs essentially to Eziama Autonomous Community, persons from Umobo Eziama, Umuchi Eziama, etc. Amala, Ikem, Alatia, and Ntu. That is the Mbishi clan. Mbishi clan is in the south of Ngopala. The land in issue was acquired in 2003 by Imo State government under the administration of His Excellency Chief Achiku Demo as governor. The acquisition was for 2,000 hectares of land. The 2,000 hectares of land is still the 2,000 hectares of land as of today, government acquired. Not 1 inch has been added from 2003 till today. Not 1 inch. So it is a clear case of falsehood to allege that the government acquired 30,000 hectares of land. By the way, 30,000 hectares of land is almost the whole Ngopala local government area. The Surveyor General of the State, Surveyor Odedeko Zodinma, is here. He did the perimeter revalidation for us. This is the left-hand side of the acquisition. This is the right-hand side because the acquisition is on both sides of the road. The left-hand side is about 600 and something hectares. The right is about 1,308 something hectares. Out of the 2,000 hectares acquired by Imo State government in 2003, as at today, the only allocation to Zion Ministries Incorporated is 1,000 hectares. And we have given them C of O for that part of land. But let's go back to the history. Now, in 2003, when this land was acquired, Imo State government had a committee representing all the communities who own lands in that area. I have with me a certified true copy of the proceedings of that committee that has the list of members. The list of members included Chief Godwin Onyebenyi from Omar Eziama, who was the then PDP leader in Ngopala, Opera Ngopala, was the chairman of the committee, the interface committee between the government and the native owners. Reverend Titus Akanabu from Untu was the first secretary. The then Dr. Daniel Onwukwe, then provost of Albany College of Education, was a member of the committee. Uwakwe Theophilus, Enuuju, Emawuju, Dr. Reginald Eke from Untu, Chief T.A. Amadi from Untu, Mr. Benson Onyebenyi, Okenze Moses Onwukwe, Nze Felix, Nwambe Felix, Mr. Eugene Achinihu, Ichie Vincent Nweke, and Mr. Christopher Amoku. All natives of different land-owning communities or in Mbishi constitute the local interface committee that related with the state government over the acquisition. Now, out of these 13 persons I mentioned, 10 of them are still alive. Chief Godwin Onyebenyi is in the US on health grounds. Titus Akanabu is now a bishop. He's still alive. Daniel Onwukwe Provost, now professor, is still alive. Uwakwe Theophilus, alive. Chief T.A. Amadi from Untu, alive. Etc., etc. Now, after the acquisition in 2003, the purpose was the Imo State government wanted to establish in partnership with some Chinese investors an investment hub with an EPZ license called Imo Guangdong Project. We were to have an export processing zone there with Chinese investors. But because of the intransigence of the native owners, they will tell you Obasanjo took it to Ogun State. It is not the truth. The truth was people resist change. My people were reluctant, subsistence farming. In order to persuade them, the government went out of the way trying to carry them along. In course of the delays, the investors lost interest. But before then, the state government had perfected their position by gazette, paid compensation more than 2/3 them, issued a certificate of occupancy in favor of the Imo Guangdong project, which was a multi-purpose vehicle between Imo State government and the Chinese investors. That is the truth. So when the CFO was issued, the government took over possession. Like you know, when government has not started building structures, you still allow the natives to farm the land. That is why I ask my people, some of you went there this morning. You have seen how close it is to habitation. How come nobody from Umbishi built one building, erected one fence on that 2,000 hectares of land? Nobody did so because we all know it's government land. In my place, we call it Chinese village. We all know it's government land. So nobody did any permanent structure on any part of that land from 2003 till now, which is unlike our people. So when the project failed, Governor Chikudemwa's tenure ended. His Excellency Owele Rochas Okorocha became governor. No, Ikedo Hakim was governor for 4 years, still wanted to pursue the Chinese investment, which didn't work. When Governor Okorocha took over, what Governor Hakim wanted to do there was an integrated agricultural business, which didn't take off till he left. When Governor Okorocha came on board, Governor Okorocha revoked the CFO granted in favor of the Guangdong project and gave a CFO for another multi-purpose vehicle established between Imo State government and Chelsea Group. They called it Imo Chelsea Limited. Imo Chelsea Limited was to get an EPZ license, that is Export Processing Zone license, for integrated agricultural development. From the time he was governor till 2020, the project did not take off because they could not secure an EPZ license. But everybody in my community knew that it was government land. Nobody also interfered with the land. So when the project under Chelsea couldn't take off, the next governor was Governor, His Excellency Emeka Ihedioha, Commander of the Order of the Niger. When he took over, he also tried to do agricultural products, processing zone there. You all know how the administration ended quickly before His Excellency the Civil Senator Hope Uzodimma took over. 15th of January 2020. When we took over, the governor received so many applications of persons interested in investing in Imo, in that land. And it was because of that that he assigned the Surveyor General to go and establish the perimeter fencing, the perimeter of that land. And it was because of the Surveyor General's work that we discovered that natives had removed some of the survey beacons of that area. Fast forward, we got an inquiry from Zion Ministries that some natives wanted to sell that land to Zion Ministries. But a well-meaning traditional ruler in our community, in our area, alerted Zion Ministries to go and investigate at the Ministry of Lands that that land belonged to government. Before this time, Zion Ministries had already done traditional rights with some of the communities who own land there. They had prepared to move to Lagos to negotiate before the Zion Ministries came on inquiry on search at the Ministry of Lands. That's how the deal burst. It was a scheme to take money from the ministry that failed. That is the anger of some of the protagonists of this agitation I'm reacting to. So when the deal knocked, like our people, young men, we normally say, they got infuriated. And the government, upon learning of that position, Zion Ministries now applied to Imo State government. This is a counterpart of the application they made to Imo State government for allocation of part of that land. I will read the application to you. We write for land allocation at Imbishi Ngokala local government area for Zion Prayer Management Outreach, a non-denominational prayer ministry fully registered in Nigeria. Below is a list of projects the ministry is bringing to Imbishi, Imo State. Zion Prayer Auditorium, Zion Standard World Class Hospital, Specialist, Standard Schools, creche, nursery, primary, secondary, tertiary institution, skill acquisition centers, Zion production companies for candles, oil, water making factory, estate development, a standard well-developed Zion city in Imbishi, an event center, and market development. The ministry will help develop the communities and offer first choice employment to the youths and indigenes who are capable and qualified for various post-job vacancies that will be advertised upon completion of the project. We received this letter on the 18th of April 2024. By that time, I was not here as commissioner. It's just coincidental that I am here now, but when this process started, I wasn't here. I inherited it. Now, when government did its due diligence, remembering the development the Zion Ministry had brought to Lagos State, anybody who goes to that area will attest to this. Being an Imo indigene, the proprietor of the ministry, being an Imo indigene, anxious to come home and develop Imo State, the government acceded to the application. Upon due process and all diligence, the government considered them fit. But before doing that, the Chelsea business, which was a partnership with Imo State government and Chelsea Group, having failed for the better part of 10, 11 years without takeoff, the state government first and foremost revoked the CFO, or Projects Administration, granted to Imo Chelsea Limited. This is the revocation order. The revocation order signed by the governor of Imo State was on the 5th of February 2024. Before Zion Ministry even applied for this land. And everybody knows that under the Land Use Act, when land is acquired by a government for public purpose, it is the government that decides what public purpose it will put the land to. Or where a municipality used to be somebody's farmland. Abuja used to be Gwari people's farmland. Lagos used to be some people's farmland. Today everywhere is developed. Why is it different here? Are we going to die in subsistence farming like our great-grandparents did? Why wouldn't Gopala people go to Lagos to look for work when there is opportunity of working at home if our place is developed? That is the spirit behind this matter. To develop our communities. I know accepting change is difficult for some people who are not forward-looking. But when change comes, we must embrace it. Now, after revoking this order, we processed the application for Zion Ministries. And I want to tell you, before this time, going through the records of government, we saw that every compensation agreed upon between the government and the representatives of the communities that Imo State government paid all. I have here the indemnity signed by representatives of the village, of the communities. The indemnity signed by them for the balance of their compensation, 123 million naira, signed by the persons I mentioned as their representatives. I have here from the government records evidence of checks covering the amount received by the estate valuers who acted for the communities. They are all here. They are all here. Imo State government checks paid as far back as the last payment was in 2014. 2014 was under Okorocha administration. The first one paid under Achikudemwa's administration. I have it also here. Now, as usual with government, when such money is paid, there's an indemnity in case we paid to the wrong people. The indemnity is here. Nobody had complained to us that they didn't receive money. And this day, indemnity had expired, which means the payment was done properly. I have here also the list of the families, community by community, and the amount received by their leaders from the representatives. They are all here, records of Minister of Lands. Of course, these things will also be tendered in court in defense of that bogus case. They are all here. Some of those boys agitated, their fathers' names are here. That is why when you go to their press conference, you see young men under 40 years agitating. Where are their fathers? Their fathers are not there because their fathers know they signed, they all agreed to their position, they signed the compensation, and they have kept away from the land all these years. They are all here. How the families got money. They are all here, documented, signed for, fully. They are all here. Now, all this happened before our relationship with Zion Ministries commenced. Government did not acquire any new land for Zion Ministries. Government gave Zion Ministries Incorporated part of our existing acquisition in Udishi. The left-hand side of that acquisition is still vacant, unoccupied. But I'll tell you a story about that left-hand side. Some illegal transactions have been happening there. People purporting to sell to investors. Because wherever the Zion Ministry is, people go to buy land to build. And when we moved against them for selling government land, illegal sale, which will work, they resorted to the blackmail in the press of how government is acquiring their land for Zion Ministries. No, it's not the case. We are going to prosecute those who attempted to sell government land there without any authorization. We are going to prosecute them, and they are running away from criminal prosecution. Many of them are in Abuja doing press conference, lodging in hotels with money realized from genuine investors who have come to develop the area, but selling land that they don't own to those unsuspecting members of the public. The land belongs to Imo State government, and Imo State government has decided what to do with part of the land by allocating 1,000 hectares for Zion Ministries for integrated development. Those of you who went there this morning, you have seen what is going on there. The pace of work there is like how Abuja started. Everybody will agree with me. The road is being expanded. And when the ministry had an activity there last December, for 3 days, if I'm not mistaken, every family in Mbishi benefited. Land, one plot of land that we used to sell at 200, 300,000, as of today, is 10 million naira. How can you be benefiting and you are at the same time complaining? There are people, all the laborers you see there, all the workers there, are they from the moon? They are also from our locality. It's the lazy people who are doing this agitation without the support of the community. And I will ask you, which traditional ruler did you see having press conference? If there's any problem about that land acquisition, is it not the traditional rulers, the president generals, who should be talking, the councillor, the honorable member representing Ngopala, the House of Reps member, and probably the Senate of Owerri Zone? They're just some free agents who are out to protect the illegal transactions they went into with unsuspecting members of the public over land that is not theirs. They are the ones agitating. And we think it's better we let you know the truth so that the story will be balanced, because those who published their story neglected to revert to us for our own side of the story. That's why we are having this conference. And I am sure by the time you go through some of the documents I will give you, you will appreciate the fact that Imo State government under the civil senator Hope Uzodinma has not done any wrong. Rather, the government has broken the jinx. The government acquired land since 2003, no development. Suddenly, this administration is interested in developing that area. And some opposition elements opposition in the parties, opposition in the churches. I hear some churches think if Zion ministry comes, they will lose their congregation. That is should be left for God to judge. In heaven, they don't ask people which denomination are you coming from. They are the ones sponsoring all these things, all these opposition parties. Jim Walker is a member of PDP. Sam Amadi is a well-known opposition figure from Ngwapala too. Having submitted to court, why not let the court handle the case? Why resort to blackmail? They have brought the propaganda of Ruga, it didn't work. They have brought the propaganda of Fulani, it didn't work. Now the propaganda is to overestimate the acquisition we have. The acquisition we have is 2,000 hectares, not 30,000. Of course, 30,000 will mean the entire Ngwapala land. Anybody can find out. So please, we request you to help us give the true picture of that land holding. And I don't think Imo State government made any mistake in bringing development to parts of Imo State. I don't think so. And I don't think the people are entitled to ridicule the authority of the state. Oh, me, I'm from that place now. A prophet is not without honor except in his own town, probably. But in this one, we are all interested, all the elites in Ngwapala are interested in the development coming to Ngwapala. It's the opposition elements who think they can ridicule the administration by attacking this, painting picture of giving land to church. In every layout, there's a P plot. P plot is a public plot. It's set out for churches, hospitals, schools, and such public institutions. It's not out of place. So let us be properly guided and to implore you that when these stories come, that you make well to at least get the official position. The last area I will bring to your attention is when Zion Ministries started partnering with the state government for this purpose, we organized, as of today, we had organized about 6 different meetings with representatives of all the communities who own lands in that area. I also have a list of the attendance for all the meetings in handwriting of all those who attended. I have them. Presided over by my humble self, their brother. They are all here. In course of this community, what they call CSR, in course of this, trying to carry the communities along, I am aware, though I'm not their agent, that Health Ministry gave us copies of the list of attendance, some public relations or appeasement they have given to all the communities. These are evidence of checks, 10 million, 10 million, 10 million, to the 6 communities each, before, in fulfillment of traditional rights, before they entered that land. I'll tell you, soldiers are there. Nothing like that. When you threaten, you will kidnap people. Why wouldn't security agencies be there to protect life and property? But when you go to steal bags of cement, you are afraid of prosecution. This is evidence of the relationship the allottees Zion had instituted with the communities. I personally visited every palace of all the traditional rulers. I visited all of them in enlightenment of what is to be done on that area. I visited all the communities affected. We arranged meetings. Even the traditional authority, the State Council of Traditional Rulers, constituted a committee. Eze, Fred Nwachukwu, was in the committee representing Ngwapala. Ezimo constituted a committee that organized an interface between the community people and Zion Ministries and ourselves. We had these meetings at Eze's Palace, Imo Traditional Rulers Palace, on Mbari. And we all came out with a memorandum of understanding that if development starts, we will form an interface committee to be represented, to be constituted with, I think, 4 members from each community. An interface committee. The communities have sent in names they want as their representatives to me. And we are still hoping to call them to constitute that committee. But they will not let this government do the due process. They are in court, they are in social media, they are in churches, they are in age grade meetings, trying to stir up crisis. But the public, our people are not interested. We are peace-loving people. So please, help us let the world know that Imo State government did not acquire any new land for Zion Ministries. Imo State government gave Zion Ministries 1,000 hectares from East Land Holding in Mbishi. We have 2,000 hectares there. We have given out 1,000. The rest is still available for other members of the public who apply to government. Even those from there, if they require government to release land to them for their own development, they have every right to apply for it. But this government cannot be untwisted. We cannot be blackmailed now. This is government. And it doesn't matter that I am from there. I will not, because I'm from there, I will bend the rules. It's not a personal thing. I could live here tomorrow. Somebody else will be here to continue and examine what I did while I was here. So it's not a question of his grandfather is from, so he's not even from here. Or he's from here, he doesn't want to help his people. It's not about helping your people, because I know that the development coming to Ngopala will help Ngopala people more than the money some individuals will want to get from this matter. That is the truth. Many of those leaders, you see that they have bought buses, transport buses. In the last 1 year, they are now transporters. Some have married. Some now have buildings going on. All because of the investment coming through this Zion Incorporated. How can you approbate and reprobate at the same time? If you go there, you see that the road is being dualized. There's a proposal to declare Ngopala a satellite town because of that investment. Are we going to continue living as if we are in the 15th century? Farming, cassava. Farming, cassava. Our children are elsewhere looking for employment. So we are very great partners in progress with Zion Ministries Incorporated. It is not just church they are doing. If they are looking for people to attend church, it won't be in Eziama, it won't be in Mbishi. Who are the millionaires who will donate to church there? They will stay in Abuja and Lagos. If it is church business they are doing. But they are doing a specialist hospital. They are doing old people's home. They are doing schools. They are having a state development. This is how a community develops. Rome was not built in a day. So I will urge my people to be patient with the development program going on in our place. At the end of the day, I'm sure they will all gather to give me a title for bringing or helping facilitate that project there, which I inherited. I know in the long run, they will be happy. That's how those Nsukka people, that's how they complain when Nnamdi Azikiwe of blessed memory was bringing University of Nigeria to Nsukka. That's how they complain. So some people will complain because they want to resist change. But when change comes, we should embrace it for positive reasons that change will bring to our communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.